Welcome back, everyone, to Sure to Be Grand. I think that's the first time I didn't say welcome back in a really loud, obnoxious voice in a while. So, that's not because I've made changes in my life and tried to be more relaxed, but it's more down to me having done a podcast just before I'm doing this podcast with Kevin. I'm a little bit subdued, which is why Kevin has a lot of facts with us. Say hello, Kevin.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Sure to Be Grand. I'm saying that again because you didn't hear it the first time. It was too relaxed the last time, so someone has to be obnoxious about it.
I'm just going, hi everybody, welcome to Sure It'll Be Grand. Your main spot for all you jazzy cats and kittens out there.
Never say cats and kittens. I don't like hearing that from you.
I meant it in the jazzy way.
I know, but hearing it out of your mouth, don't like it.
All right, folks. Yes, we are back. We are on episode 4.
Episode 4, A New Hope.
Yes, we decided to not watch. We decided to watch the original Obi-Wan Kenobi episode. But yes, we're back, and so last episode it kind of ended on a bit of a cliffhanger. Leia is kidnapped by the third sister, and somehow, in ways I've yet to figure out. So, like, okay, the last episode we see Vader pulling Obi-Wan through the fire, and he's able to turn the fire off and on at his will because Jedi powers, Sith powers even. I think they're both kind of the same Force. In this regard. Yeah,
the Force
powers. Yeah. And then there's a distraction. The fires go back up, and Obi-Wan gets saved, and they just don't go after him. And it seems to be a running theme in this that like.
Just don't go after. At least explain it in this one.
Not even that. More or less like if there's even the slightest thing that's in the way, they won't go past it.
The Sith are quite lazy like that.
I mean, Obi-Wan had to open up the laser gate. There were literally ways of walking around it.
Maybe Force users are just so used to the Force that they're like, inconveniences. But
yeah, so Obi-Wan gets saved. He gets
he gets saved by Tala.
Yes, he gets thrown into a tank, a Bacta tank.
Bacta, yeah. That's reference to episode 5, or just Star Wars in general, where we see a lot of Bacta tanks.
Shows up in the Book of Boba Fett.
It's all over the place, and it's really cool to see it. We did see it in episode 2, at the end of episode 2, when we see Vader. But it's just really cool that they're still just using all these classic Star Wars stuff and just throwing them in there.
But what I think is actually a great part of the scene is that because they're in suspended liquid and they're unconscious, both Vader and Obi-Wan are connecting to each other through the Force far easier. I suppose it's very much like those
sensory deprivation tanks.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting here.
Yeah, it's almost as if you can connect with people through the Force over very long distances with people you share an inherent bond with.
And for some reason get wet as well if there's water on the other side.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, there was water on both sides in this case.
Yeah.
Not that it's ever happened before or after.
Yeah. But yes, Obi-Wan is having a mind connection battle with Vader in his own tank. And that kind of made me wonder, do you think Vader often goes into the tank? Because I know in Legends there was always a thing that he had to get his synthetic skin scrubbed off his body every single day and get new applied, and then he had to be put into the tank to basically survive. So any actual anything, excursions, anything where he has to really push himself, he is probably in there to heal for a while.
Yeah, I imagine being on being on a more sandy planet, like the one they were on in the last episode, probably didn't help. Sand will probably get into the crevices and irritate him a lot.
Does Vader like sand or not? I'm not sure. I can't remember.
I don't think he's very fond of it.
Yeah. It does get everywhere.
Yeah, it gets everywhere. It's
coarse.
Of course, it's rough.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't think people should have democracy.
Yeah, ill politicians is what Vader says.
Yeah.
It's a thing that definitely wasn't a red flag.
When he was trying to flirt with his politician girlfriend.
Honestly, that one's on Padme. Yeah. Like, she should have seen that one. Anyway,
I still love when he tries to flirt with her and someone edited a meme where it's very clear like she's pressing a panic button and she's just smiling. Okay, yes.
Yeah, I love that one. Yeah. Oh god, they make him act so unnaturally in that. So glad that he gets a chance to act in this series.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they have a bit of a force battle. It's framed as like, oh, they're both remembering the battle, but I almost like to I almost prefer thinking of it as they're actually like Vader connected with him over the Force and is purposely torturing him, because that's more interesting. And that's how I'm viewing that scene going forward.
I would say this: when we see the flashes of Vader clashing in like the shot, it's not. But to be honest, it's just hard to tell. But because we just see like his chest display moving and big flashes and motion blur and all that. But for a second, I thought like, was that on the Death Star? Is Obi-Wan having visions of the future when he's going to fight him?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Now, I don't think it was, because I went back and said, there's no real way to tell. I think this is just them.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that be neat?
Yeah, it's a bit vague, but it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I honestly, really interesting scene. Not lingered on for very long, because immediately Obi-Wan pulls himself out of the bacta tank even.
Yeah.
And he's immediately like, "Where's Leia?" Which actually, I'm just realizing now is basically a call ahead reference to episode 8, where Finn wakes up and goes, "Where's Rey?" It's basically the same thing. They both wake up from like their healing thing. I don't think Finn was a bacta thing. It might have been, but like a weird bacta suit. And immediately his first question is, where's Rey? But now we're doing Obi-Wan. Interesting reference to do, but sure, I'll be fine with that. But yeah, so going ahead in the episodes, Obi-Wan and Tala meet up with the rest of the people who work on the Path. The Path being this proto-rebellion where people are helping people escape from the Empire. Mainly, it seems to be focusing on a lot of Force-sensitive people.
I think it's for the most part, because I look, at least, obviously in the original episodes as well, it's very much framed as Jewish people run from the Nazis. Like, the Empire has never been more Nazi than in this Obi-Wan show.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and that's saying something.
Nazi,
That's saying something, given that they've always been kind of Nazi.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Like, all I'm saying is that if Hitler could have made a big, giant space station that could blow up planets, he would. But yeah, so very like the Path is very much an underground railroad type thing where they're helping the Force-sensitive people escape from under the Empire's thumb.
Yeah,
and they're a bit hesitant to help Obi-Wan, given that he wants to break into what may be one of the most, at least one to their knowledge, one of the most heavily fortified Imperial bases.
Yeah.
Which is called I think, Grand Inquisitorium.
Yeah, I found it really interesting that it's on a water planet, moon that goes around Vader's planet, the lava planet.
Yeah,
and I always wonder, like, is that another analogy to the whole Vader thing? Like, Vader is currently inhabiting this fiery place in himself, and the destruction and decay. But if you drop that water moon onto the planet, will it just turn into like Alderaan, for example? Like just a water land planet, like, after a while.
Oh, I don't think it's as simple as that, but I mean, eventually you reintroduced all the... Thematically, yes.
Yeah.
But physically, no.
No, physically it would be a disaster.
Yeah, but actually, it's the Fortress Inquisitorius, not the Grand Inquisitorius. But actually, that planet that moon they're on actually is called Nur.
Yeah.
Which I believe was referenced in Jedi Fallen Order, the video game.
It was. It's actually the same fortress and everything, and like
the
way he breaks the guy from wow, I already forgot the name of the game straight away.
Jedi Fallen Order.
Jedi Fallen Order. The way he breaks in is the exact same way Obi-Wan breaks in.
Yeah, goes in under and like.
Also, the weirdest thing to say, like, I don't know why I cared so much, but I just went, yeah, Obi-Wan has a rebreather again.
Straight up episode 1 reference. He has the rebreather. Like, yes, he still kept it. That stupid thing to get into the Gungan capital. Yes,
I like that he lived on a desert planet, but he still kept that just in case. Like he's like, it could rain today.
Not only did he keep it, he brought it on the mission.
Yeah, just in case. Yeah.
His mission that was intended to go to a city planet.
Yeah.
Which, why the fuck would he need it?
I just want to mention that one scene. It's when the third sister tries to get memories or ideas and thoughts from Leia.
Yeah.
And Leia is just like forced sense of child to the max.
Yeah.
She really tries, and Leia just like, the worst he got Leia is her going, that wasn't pleasant.
Yeah.
She just go like, what is this, a staring competition? She's like,
Honestly, once again, this feels like a call-ahead reference to the sequel trilogy, where Rey does the same thing to Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
But does in episode 7.
To be fair, both of them really struggled at the time. Like, Rey is even just like, oh, this is hard. Leia's just like, okay.
Yeah, which I just think means Leia is the best character in the show.
Like, more and more, it feels like the Star Wars universe is trying to tell us, like, look, Luke was grand and all, but we clearly fucked up, alright?
Yeah. Honestly, give me the Leia series.
Yeah.
Honestly. Honest to God.
Give me a what if timeline. Leia.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Like,
I don't care. I just want some more Leia. That's it.
Yeah. Fine, give us, like, Carrie Fisher age Leia. I understand, obviously it's going to be another actress, but I think Carrie Fisher would love that.
Yeah.
You know? And like, again, didn't know her personally. Maybe she'd be fucking pissed off herself, but I can't see Carrie Fisher looking at younger actresses wants to make a way in, like, the film industry and shitting on them. She'd be all fucking for it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know?
I feel like Carrie would love to be.
Could you
love to see other people being Leia?
But that's what the thing is. Can you imagine if Carrie Fisher was alive today and
she saw young
Leia and then saw some of the people online talking shit about her? Fucking space mom to the max. She would actually create the Force in real life. There'd just be lightning from her hands going. Ah!
Honestly, I'd love to see it.
Yeah. She would destroy them in like a sentence. They'd
absolutely.
Be gone. Yeah.
Just snap them out of existence with her mind.
And Leia plays with the third sister so much in this.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love it. Like I said this like when we were doing episode 1 and 2 where I 100% feel like she grows up to be the one who shit talks Darth Vader to his face. We see that in this episode where she shit talks the third sister to her face.
She gets all scared and stuff, and she says, "Look," and the third sister goes like, "Look, we're just part of the Empire. Look, we're on your side. All those people that claim to be on our side, they're not coming back for you. We're working together." And she goes like, "Okay, I'll tell you. Okay, can I tell my dad first? As we're all on the same side." And she just like clenches her fist in the air.
Yeah.
My
god! Woo! Honestly, that was the best bit of acting from the third sister's actress. I legitimately thought she wanted to murder.
I'm about to hit this child.
Best bit of acting from her so far, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, I love this episode as a whole.
Yeah.
But
let's go back to what Obi-Wan's up to.
Hop over, yeah, because most of Leia's side is just her in an interrogation room shit-talking the third sister. So we'll get back to that once she meets back up with Obi-Wan in the story.
Yes.
But Obi-Wan and Tala work on a plan to break in. They're going to use Tala's Imperial clearance to get into the
because like here we definitely 100% get to say that she has a high enough rank in the Empire, and it's not like a fake one. She hasn't cheated her way into it. She was basically undercover in the Empire trying to help Force sensitive people.
Yeah. Yeah, just straight up. Which makes sense because in the last episode she said that she joined up with the Empire, but then grew to dislike what they were doing. So she used her position.
It's cool to see how high she was in it.
Yeah, because she was able to use her standing to get past certain things. Like someone got her ID to check if she was allowed in, and they said, "You're not in this sector," and she says, "Well, I'm a higher rank than you."
Yeah,
and she talks him down, and manages to get in.
Yeah.
And basically the rest of the episode has her at a computer guiding Obi-Wan through a map of the place. She has no idea what this place is for, because most people who work for the Empire don't. It's mainly used for the Inquisitors to do something, and they don't know what it is.
Do you want to know a cool little fact, though? Just on the fortress she's invading and Vader's fortress. So Vader's fortress it's kind of like a pyramid thing at the top with the two towers going up to it. The two towers is a reference to the Rule of Two. And here's a really cool thing. The Inquisitor has the two thing cut off at the top. It stops the focus into proper two because they're not part of the Rule of Two.
They're like this weird other Sith thing.
Yeah.
That just is...
They've granted the a seat on the council, but they are not a Sith master.
Oh god, yeah. Can you just imagine like his shit-eating grin under the helmet, like as he says that? Oh, great.
Yeah.
Basically, make Starkiller canon. Anyway, after that, Obi-Wan infiltrates. As we said, he has the Phantom Menace rebreather. Infiltrates under the facility and goes up through basically I would assume a sewage duct or something.
Yeah.
And chokes out a stormtrooper to get in. Yeah. And there is a scene where he walks through the door and you just see the stormtrooper face down in the water. Yeah. Just lying there, and I'm like, god damn, these stormtroopers get no respect.
And all of these kind of felt like, because he had this little communicator on him, and it all felt like episode 1, Obi-Wan, when he was with Qui-Gon on the ship, Confederate ship, and like talking amongst themselves and all this kind of stuff. Like, it had all those vibes, but the years have taken that toll.
Yeah, this was straight up something that Obi-Wan used in episode 1, but the circumstances in which it was being used almost felt more like episode 4, because this device showed up in episode 4 as well, where one of them was given to C-3PO and R2, who were in a control room, and Luke, Han, and Chewie went to go rescue Leia. And the Death Star. So that actually gets referenced because there's a scene in this. Obi-Wan is making his way through the fortress. He's trying to contact Tala, but she's been brought away from the communicator. Because she's being interrogated by someone who she has to knock out.
Here's the thing. So just to make another point, just when I was talking about interrogation, I keep forgetting. Like, I'm thinking Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan, but old school Obi-Wan also sneaked into a place and tried to identify everything in it. Yeah.
Actually, I have a point about that. I'll bring up a bit later, but I have a point about this, and I'll mention it. But yeah, so the communicator has no access. No one's on the internet. Like when C-3PO and R2 had to stop communicating with the gang because some stormtroopers were investigating them. And they had to reconnect. So it's like in episode 4 when the gang lost communication with each other despite having communicators on them. You know? Very, very, like, little reference, but nice. That they're connecting episode 4 to episode 4.
Yes, of course, yes.
But after that, they reconnect. He gets past some spy droids, or sentry droids.
Which sound very much like the ones that we know that are like on Tatooine and stuff. We've seen before. They make the same noise. They make,
the wow kind of thing.
Same, like, red light. They're obviously a similar version of them, you know?
Yeah, and they're just floating around. There's more of them in the place, at least in this level, than stormtroopers, which makes sense.
Yeah, big time. When we look at the map,
because
there's quite a few of them, and I looked at the map and it was just full.
yeah, it looked like a Pac-Man maze in there.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too.
But yeah, so like Obi-Wan navigates around them a bit. He sneaks past some stormtroopers who are talking about T-16s, as stormtroopers usually do.
Yeah.
And eventually he finds this place, like huddled away, where he finds out what the purpose of this fortress is, and it's a room full of not carbonated, but like it crystallized, I guess you could say.
Look, let's just say, like, eventually there's going to be an eccentric billionaire in the future who's going to find them, take the DNA out, and make a Jedi Park.
Yeah. So we find the precursor to Jedi Park in the bottom of this fortress, which is just like rows and rows and rows of entombed Jedi just and on display,
and like Force sensitive, because we see a kid as well.
Yeah, just anyone who was like even shown to be acutely Force sensitive. One of them is still wearing like the Jedi helmet, like training helmet that they wore back in the temple, which just making me realize how far back they've been doing this.
Actually,
but also,
wonder if
they didn't even change him in the torture chamber.
Makes me wonder if that one of those kids was one of the kids we saw at the beginning of the first episode. When they were,
it might have been
because they were training at the time. It makes sense. It was.
It'd be interesting. I'm a bit face blind, so I'd have to see a side by side. But it definitely could have been. There's a few other noteworthy ones. The main one that people have seen, and is the obvious one, is Tara Sanub from Clone Wars.
Yes.
Easiest to identify because they stop and look at him. I did notice that. It didn't look like his beak was there.
No.
But that might have just been my eyes, but I didn't see a beak. Which was a bit weird.
Could be an aesthetic thing as well for live action.
It could be an aesthetic thing, but it definitely was Tara Snoop, which was a really nice reference to the Clone Wars. This was the first time. I loved
him in that episode. He was basically just a detective Jedi who just used common sense.
Yeah, like it was really nice that they're actually this is a live action version of. Well, a live action. It clearly is a CGI thing in the crystal, but it is very. It's our first live action Tara Sanub, which is nice. I've seen some people say that they've seen a character called Coleman Kukaj.
Yeah, we've got a lot of references, even to, like, in the last episode. Like, a lot of the signatures there are. A lot of them are from Legends as well. Like, stuff that used to be not canon. I'm not saying now those stories are suddenly canon, but those characters exist in some way in this universe.
It's like the Darth Plagueis the Wise, who has been decanonized while remaining canon.
I kind of, the way I see it, I've always seen the Legend stuff, and I think Disney has even mentioned this. It's not necessarily that it's not canon. It's more like those are the stories that are told around the fire in the Star Wars universe. They could be true. They could be truth to them, or maybe it's not true.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it's fair to Disney. There's a lot of Star Wars. I've got hate for this. There's a lot of Star Wars canon, and they had to either appease the masses or they had to appease the minority, and they chose to appease the masses.
Yeah,
which is fair.
One way around it, I guess, because look, this happens 1,000 years later, and everything. we know.
They could have, but like then they don't get the cash in on the Skywalkers.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, thankfully we're moving away from the Skywalker stuff in a way. I mean, there's still Skywalker in this. There's still Skywalker in the previous one. It shows as well, but we're getting there slowly.
Hopefully. But there is one other Jedi who people have claimed to have seen in this little segment of the episodes that is not there. But definitely, I see what you're saying, people. That's not Mace.
No, it's not. Look, I think the only thing people are saying it's Mace Windu is because it's a black guy who happens to be bald and is wearing some sort of Jedi robe. I'm sorry, that's not enough. Also, I mean, Obi-Wan knew Mace Windu fairly well. I'd say he would have stopped for a second to look at, oh shit, Mace.
It's like, it's legitimately a thing. He would have looked, because here's the thing. Like I'm talking, Disney would have gone for general audience, so they would have gone for Mace, because the general audience knows Mace Windu. They don't know Terra Sinoop.
Yeah.
Like, Terra Sinoop's a nice reference to have for, like, deep cut, well, not deep, but slightly deeper than average cut for, like, Star Wars fans.
Well, if Marvel has proven anything, is that once there's an established franchise, you can start sprinkling in more obscure things, and people will be okay with it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I feel like if they were going to do that, they were going to put Mace in, and they didn't put Mace in, so that's not Mace.
No.
Very simply.
Yeah.
Like, unless they were going to have, like, and they would have had his angry Sam Jackson face. That's mean to say.
Could you imagine, like, because people have so many theories about Mace Windu, and there's, like, a general consensus in the Star Wars fandom that Mace Windu is definitely still alive, and he's definitely coming back eventually, and he's out there, and then they just like, yeah, he's in this crystal and he's dead.
That would have been so disappointing. Why do people want this to be Mace?
Yeah.
Like, that's the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Like,
big time.
If you want Mace to appear in something, it's not this scene.
No.
Just generally. So moving past this scene, they basically figure out Obi-Wan hears Leia through the Force, I believe.
Yeah, she does like a Force scream or something, I think.
So he hears her, and Obi-Wan and Tala immediately go to cause a distraction because she's about to be entombed in the crystal as well.
Yeah.
Even though the third sister never
Leia is not going to be entombed in crystal.
Is that not the crystal room?
No, it's the torturing device that has been used multiple times in different Star Wars. No, maybe it dual purposes in crystallization. But we have seen it before, and it's not that.
The reason for my confusion is because that was a very big room, and it looked like the Carbonite room from Episode 5.
I think they just have the money now not to have to do it in like a cupboard.
What do you mean the money now? That's later.
I guess, yeah. That was Episode 5, I think, was the first time we... No, it was Episode 4 the first time we see the torture chamber with Vader, isn't it?
There was no torture chamber in Episode 4. Episode 4's torture chamber was a droid with a needle attached to it.
Are you sure?
It was literally, it's like, we have other ways of making you talk, princess, and it's floaty ball droid with a syringe duct taped to the side shows up and floats into screen menacingly. This is a very big room for a floaty droid and a syringe.
Yeah, you're right. But I to be fair though, it is doing that the serrated red roof, and it's the black. It's very much going for the same vibe, if it's not the same thing.
I will say it's similar to a scene I forgot about in Episode 5, where Vader lowers Han into what appears to be a table made of small knives.
Yes.
Which, God, Star Wars used to be something different, man.
Yeah, it really was.
But yeah, so this is a torture room, not a crystal room. So my point about them not knowing Leia's Force sensitive still is not a thing.
But they definitely know Leia's Force sensitive, because one was trying to read her mind and says, "You're powerful."
At least the third sister does.
Yeah. But and the third sister definitely keeps things to herself.
Definitely, yeah. So she's not telling anyone. She wouldn't even tell Vader, because that's information she can hold on to and be like, "Hey, I've got a new target. You know that princess? She's Force sensitive," which is why the third sister will probably die at the end of this, or go on to star in a spin-off series.
Here's a question. Do you think Leia is going to meet Vader?
Do I think Vader? I think if they would have, it would have been this episode, but I'm not 100% sure anymore.
I mean, Vader and Obi-Wan are definitely going to have a meeting again.
Yeah.
And Leia's going to be with Obi-Wan.
Yeah, and I have my theories about how they're going, like what's going to happen when they meet again, which I'll talk about again in a little bit there. Yeah. I have a big closing point for this one. The surprise, guys, I actually came with a plan to this podcast. I'm not just shiting on. But yeah.
I want to say one thing. There's something very cool. So when he goes to save Leia, he uses his lightsaber properly for the first time as not a defensive thing, as an active attack. He turns the room dark. He just briefly turns it on to do a few quick impacts, turns it off, and does it again to the next stormtrooper. And it reminds me very much, again, I mentioned this about Rebels, where when he fights Maul, he takes Maul down in 3 hits.
Yeah, it's a very short fight.
Yeah.
Barely a fight, and it's it shows skill.
Yeah.
With the lightsaber, which Obi-Wan has, and it's really good to see him getting back into the muscle memory of it. Which later on in the show, when we see him in full light, we get to see him not in exactly the same, but evocative of the same stance that he used to be in.
Oh, when he's in the hallway and on both sides, like it felt like Obi-Wan, but
it's older, slightly out of practice Obi-Wan.
I want to say one thing. So comes when they start going on the run, and they're going through the chamber that water around it. And the water crashes in, and Obi-Wan makes sure that it crashes into them first, and then he legs it. And it just reminds me of Episode 1 when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, the only time you ever see it, force run. Like they go, literally, and it's like, do it now!
Yeah, that's literally my thought was, oh my god, they're force running. You never see this. This is a straight up a power that every Jedi can do, and you never see it.
Never.
It's all jumps. It's all hops.
You know what? I bet you it's a bloody same as people who talk about Dragon Ball. So for people who don't know, like the first fight between Goku and Frieza was meant to take 4 minutes before the planet blew up, but it was multiple episodes. So people were like saying, "Oh, it's because they're super fast and they're like hitting each other really fast, but it's actually all happened in 4 minutes." And like when people say, it, "It's like okay, but they talk with each other." Like, are they like Mickey Mouse speed talking to each other? I can go, I'm over Like so, like maybe do all the Jedi's do force running all the time, but we see it at like their temporal speed. You know?
Well, that doesn't make sense. I'm fairly certain we've seen Padme run alongside Jedi. So, can she force run? I don't think so.
You know, maybe that's the only time they don't bother force running. It's like, ugh, a civilian. Ugh.
Oh, we can't let them know we're faster than average.
Yeah, it's actually how they get all that funding. They always win races and stuff. Like,
And they stop doing it after a while. They start getting their funding from basketball games where they use their force hops.
I just like to imagine it's like from The Incredibles, where is it Flash the kid?
Yes.
Yeah, when he's
Dash
when he's at like the school sports day. And he's chasing, and they're just like he's going too fast, and the fan goes, "Just slow down, slow down, slow down." I imagine like that's the same when like Padawans are around, with and they're just like training, and some normal people go look, and Padawans are like force running around, and they go, slow down, don't let them see it."
Oh God, definitely. Yeah. Honestly, one thing I'm surprised isn't mentioned more is that younglings with force powers would 100% cheat at every game they played by accident. And you never hear those stories.
Oh,
even though Qui-Gon banked on it as a plot point in Episode 1. They move broomsticks to clean. What's that kid up to? I want to know what that kid's up to.
Like for a second when I saw the kid in the helmet, I thought that was him, and I went, "No, wrong time."
Yeah, too early. Too
early. Yeah. Maybe
unless
I don't know.
Unless he gets broken out
by
really
eccentric
weird
millionaire who wants to
an eccentric
Jedi Park,
and he just sees this one kid and is like, I will sell you to Cantobite, the best planet in the series. That's sarcastic, by the way. I've said a lot of spicy Star Wars takes in these episodes. That is not one of them. Cantobite is terrible. But
we actually noticed something. We saw the people in the path. One of the guys that kind of seems to be in charge of at least that section of the path makes the point that his wife was taken away, and that's what actually makes him help Obi-Wan in the end.
Yeah.
But here's an interesting implication. Jedi don't usually get married except for some certain circumstances where the species needs it or it's part of their tradition.
Yeah.
It's a nod to them saying like, basically Force sensitives are being wrapped up in this now. You know?
I think it's like that's generally it. It's like if you're Force sensitive, you're either becoming an Inquisitor or you're going in the fridge. And that's really adding a layer of menace to the Empire in this series, at least.
Yeah. I definitely think it's like this is the most Nazi the Empire has been in.
100%. They're one step away from goose stepping and saluting. And yeah, so onwards, Obi-Wan and the gang go forward through the fortress.
Is that the name of the program? Is it?
And the gang, Obi-Wan and the gang, yeah.
Obi-Wan,
Obi-Wan and his spectacular friends.
Well, I know now that we have a episode title for this one, so thanks for that.
Yeah. But yeah, so they go through, they fight some stormtroopers. There's some, what are they called? Death troopers? Not death troopers. Death troopers are red. They're these black-suited stormtroopers. I can't remember the names.
Soldiers have been brought in to work under the Inquisitors, like.
Yeah, and they're there. You see some pilots as well. That's really cool, seeing the pilot stormtroopers again.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan puts on the worst disguise I have ever seen in any series I have ever watched. It's hilarious. He literally
cinema ticket for one, please.
He just straight up does the two people in a trench coat, but he does it sideways.
I love to imagine, actually, we didn't see his feet, and just the implication is that he's on Leia's shoulders the whole time.
Honestly, I kind of wanted him to put Leia on his shoulders, and you just see the little head. The hat's too big.
Oh, can you imagine her sass when people said, "Hey, hold on a second, you're definitely a child," and excuse me?
Missed opportunity. But honestly, the Jedi and a Jedi and a princess in a trench coat routine. No idea how they managed to make it as far as they did.
I don't mean to be crass, but I'm definitely like, you could have shoved her in a suitcase.
Yeah,
you know,
there was easier ways around this.
But the whole thing is, I think, is because the third sister wants them to get away. Like, because, once you see her playing around with Leia's droid, and then we end up finding out that she put a tracking device on it. So, like, I think they were just basically told across saying, like, yeah, you're gonna see Obi-Wan with, like, the most ridiculous, like, disguise. Just let him go.
I'd love if they weren't even told about the disguise thing. They were just told, you're gonna see Obi-Wan, put up a little bit of a fight, but let him go. And they saw that, and they're like, oh, man, I can't shoot that with a straight face.
I like to imagine it's just one stormtrooper who saw it, and he's just about to say, like, no, what if that's just an alien and I'm being racist? Oh.
What if that's just one of those weird horizontal four-legged creatures?
Yeah, like, they just look very human. I don't want to... Like, I know we're the Nazis in space, but, like, I'm just doing this for the paycheck.
Yeah, I know I'm a bigot, but I don't want to be a bigot, you know?
Like, I'm doing this for the money. Like, like, if it bear off... Like, I always want to be a gardener.
He's wearing the uniform too. Like, he must be one of us.
Yeah,
that's so weird. But yeah, so they get there. They go all the way across. Finally, the third sister finds it. They actually walk past the other Inquisitors, which honestly, I don't know how Vader tried to punish the third sister when literally all of them walked past. Yeah. She has that on a camera somewhere.
They were definitely not on board with the plan. They did not know about the plan. No, they were getting ready to. He's gonna kill her! Woo!
Yeah, they were 100% not on board with the plan. So they walked past Obi-Wan in a fucking trench coat, hiding Leia next to him, and didn't say a word. What the fuck? Do they have no peripheral?
It makes you think, why did, like, Yoda go to Dagobah? He could have hidden under someone's fucking cloak for the last 30 years and been grand. No one would have known.
He literally could have lived in a hole on the fucking Death Star.
You know what he could have done? He could have just hid underneath Vader's cape, and every time Vader turned around, he just, like, spun around behind his back going,
he could have put on a hairnet and worked in the canteen on any Imperial base.
Yeah.
And no one would have found out. And honestly, the pay would have been better.
Does that look like Yoda? Well, no, there are other people of this race as well. Here there's a baby and there's Yaddle. I mean...
Yeah. It's kind of racist. There's like 3 of them, and you're saying that all of them look alike. It's like, I mean, like, I don't want to be that guy, but there's 3 of them, and they all look alike.
I just imagine like just one of the Inquisitors saying, "Too far, dude."
That one Inquisitor was like always talks like the most serious thing. He takes everything 100% seriously, and I think he's like the 5th brother or something, and he's like, "You have taken it too far this time."
We may be bad guys, but we are not bad guys.
That is the friendly canteen worker Ado.
When we're in the canteen, we're off the clock. I'm not anymore your Inquisitor. I am Mike.
Have you not tasted his coleslaw?
Anyway. He is a joy. He always gives me extra sweet corn.
He is so kind to me. Anyway.
He has a speech impediment. Why are you so cruel to him?
I think we're getting a bit off track for talking about Ado, the canteen worker on the Death Star. Which I'm just realizing I think is actually a Robot Chicken joke we may have just ripped off.
We might have. Look, Star Wars has been around for a while. I think a lot of jokes have been made.
Yeah, but I think this was for that long neck one, Palm or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
wasn't there also the one where Kylo Ren went into disguise as an average worker on the Death Star?
I think that was an SNL skit. That was an SNL skit or something.
Yeah, well, I didn't think it was canon, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was canon. I'm saying who made the skit. Yeah. It might not have been SNL. It might have been one of those talk shows or something.
Yeah. Here's the thing, right? We get the speeder showing up. Like the old
snow speeders, yeah.
Though this is an older version. And
yeah.
I'd love to tell you I got this from a podcast, or I saw someone discussing how it's different, but I was that's not how those windows open normally. That must be an older version of these. I was like, yeah, that's not the same one. It's close, but it's not the same.
Yeah, it's very close, but very clearly the same. It's the same make. It's like you look at a Subaru and you're like, that's a Subaru. Yeah. Very very similar. Nice to see them able to not interplanetary. They have to go from a carrier ship as shown.
Yeah.
Which is cool. That's canon, baby. Yeah. They're able to leave an atmosphere, but they have to be on a bigger ship. Which, speaking of other references there, fucking mouse droids. We see some mouse droids, baby.
One gets hurt as well, though, right?
One gets set on fire. Love seeing a mouse droid, baby.
Yeah. I mean, let's be real. Anytime you're in, any of the games and they're there, you're hitting those things.
if I see a mouse droid in any media of Star Wars, it is on site. I will destroy that within seconds of seeing it for the first time.
Yeah.
If the game rewards me for it, all the better. But I need nothing to tell me to do it. I see that and I want to inflict death.
Yes, absolutely. Here's the thing. We've seen Vader so far already being in quite fucking drastic moments of oh god, this is fucked up. But I think in this episode we actually see his most emotional reaction, flippancy. We've seen from Vader potentially since, frankly, when he threw the Emperor down the chute. That was the only other scene where I can really remember him. I suppose it's when he's closest to being Anakin, because him wanting to kill Obi-Wan is Anakin. That's it's not Darth Vader. It's Anakin inside who's fucked up because of Vader.
Yeah, and it's very likely. It hasn't been outright stated in the show, but it's very likely that the Emperor has been whispering in his ear and saying, "You still have to kill the things in your past. Obi-Wan still lives," and shit like that. So his brain is full of the thought that he's still not Darth Vader till Obi-Wan dies.
Yeah, Vader is very much in going through PTSD and trauma, and gaslighting. Again, I understand he's a horrible murderer, has killed many, many people, but he was manipulated by literally the one guy of Sith legends, where this Sith can live forever through a mask, and this Sith can live beyond life itself, and all these Sith, and this Sith is really good at politics.
Yeah.
And that's what he is. He's a master manipulator, and he manipulated Anakin since he was a child.
Yeah, he's this has been his grandest scheme ever. Darth Vader is the ultimate pawn.
Yeah.
And he works that so well. I'm really glad that none of these external media have bastardized what Darth Vader is, and that is this enormous force that is nothing but manipulated by by another force. He's a person. He has his own emotions and vulnerabilities, but he is the dragon of the hero's journey.
You know what? You know, except for maybe Return of the Jedi, because there's a lot of great Vader scenes in that, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I think Disney has done the best job with Vader. Controversial take, but he is done so bloody well in Disney properties so far. Like I have issues with Disney property Star Wars stuff. Don't get me wrong. Like it hasn't been smooth sailing, but holy hell, Darth Vader is perfect in these movies. And
it's like chef's kiss.
Yeah. And you know what? I used to be like, I want a Vader series, and all. I don't anymore. I like him showing up like this. There was a Jedi. Was it Jedi Lost Order?
Jedi Fallen Order.
Fallen Order, that's the one. Sorry, I need to play the game properly sometime. I have it. I've played it for a little bit, but I have to get back into it. But Fallen Order, I think, has a moment where he comes across Vader, and Vader is basically treated as a horror villain. He just slowly walks towards you throughout the whole thing. If he catches you, you're dead. It's not a matter of like fighting back and beating him. He's the only boss in the game I think you can't beat. He just constantly goes. He's basically like Jason in horror movies, and we've seen that even in the last episode where Obi-Wan tries to like escape into the desert, and Vader just inexplicably comes out behind Sanju's like, "Yo, I'm here," you know.
He Jason teleports.
He really does, and I'm there for it.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the emotional flippancy thing. He comes into the room, and again, there's many moments in the show where I don't see Vader, I see Anakin. I see angry Anakin coming into the scene, and he just force chokes her instantly, saying like, "You have failed me, you let them go." And then she goes, "I let them go." And then he's like, "Oh, what did he say? I
underestimated you."
Yeah, I underestimated, because, she wants them. And I think Vader's kind of on board with the same idea. Like, Vader could have easily got Obi-Wan back from that robot. Like, nothing was going to stop him really getting Obi-Wan. He clearly wants to find out what's going on. So I think you're saying, like, he's been whispered to saying you have to destroy paths. I think that the past destruction thing is Anakin more than anything. I think it's Anakin not wanting to remember the past and wants to erase it. I think it's the Emperor is you need to find this path. You need to get rid of the Jedi. That's his job. Getting Obi-Wan is a personal thing for him.
Yeah, I can see that, actually.
I also want to say his voice, very youthful in this scene. It sounds more like a person speaking rather than through a mask. And looking at it now, they did have help with a synthetic speech startup group called WeSpeecher. So we still have James Earl Jones being the voice of Vader, but he has definitely been helped by AI. And I personally think what's happening is that he basically has helped them create this AI with Vader's voice, and I'm sure he has done a few lines himself throughout the show. But for the most part, I think they're using the software to take Christian Hayden's
Hayden Christensen.
Hayden. Why do I keep mixing that up? It's Christian Bale. That's why he keeps messing me up. But they're using. He's acting. They couldn't have just brought him back, because they made points in Obi-Wan interview saying, "Oh, it was mad seeing him in the Vader costume and how imposing he is." And if it's just a matter of like near the end of the series we see Vader out of a helmet, I'd be disappointed. I think he's been acting in that suit. I think he's been voice acting, and then they use this AI that's been helped by James Earl Jones to make him sound more like Vader.
Yeah. And I want to get into a point about this, because there's all stuff that happens at the end of the episode. So I want to get into some stuff that I noticed about this episode that made me notice stuff about the episodes prior to this, and is making me think about the next two final episodes for this series.
Ooh, predictions.
So As I made a joke at the beginning of this episode, and that was actually a call ahead reference to this point. I made a joke when we said we're reviewing episode 4. I said A New Hope. That's because this episode is very evocative of stuff that happens in A New Hope. As you know, if you've watched the episode, Obi-Wan infiltrates an Imperial base to rescue Princess Leia from a Sith who is currently interrogating her about information relating to an anti-Empire movement, during which Leia boldly lies to that Sith's face multiple times, despite threats of torture. That's just straight up what happens in the middle of episode 4. Like, note for note.
And at the end, of course, Obi-Wan gets to escape as well. But they escape with someone dying during the escape.
Someone dies during the escape. Yeah. And a tracker is put on their ship that is going to lead the Empire to where they are hiding out.
Yeah. It's very A New Hope.
This is very A New Hope.
It's it's A New Hope sprinkled with like references to the original the prequel trilogy.
Yeah,
like,
it's very cool. And it made me think, is that why they're not actually titling these episodes? Are all these episodes like somewhat referencing the movies that they're the episode of?
Could be.
Because I went and I thought about it. Episode 2 gave me some of the strongest ties.
Yeah.
Because if you look at episode 2, the runtime is spent in the seedy underworld of a city and had Obi-Wan protecting the princess, which isn't unlike the beginning of Attack of the Clones, where Obi-Wan and Anakin were tasked to protect Padme from an assassin, which led to them to the seedy underground of Coruscant.
Yeah.
It's a bit tenuous, but it's there.
It's there.
And there's a little bit of extra evidence.
They're on duty, basically.
Yeah, there's a little bit extra evidence too. It's the first episode in the series where we see Hayden as Darth Vader, and that's the first movie where Hayden played to Anakin.
Yeah.
It's the only episode we have seen a clone trooper, and it is Attack of the Clones. And, this isn't really reference, Attack of the Clones and episode 2 were the only parts of either specific runtime of the series that mention drugs in the Star Wars universe. In any meaningful sense. If you want to call that 6 meaningful.
Ewan McGregor's daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Episode 3, a little less to work with here, but main piece of the puzzle, it featured Darth Vader, and Revenge of the Sith is the part of the story where Vader is created. Yeah. Also, it featured a fight scene between Obi-Wan and Vader that left one of them covered in serious burns. And Mustafar made an appearance in the episode, which is another smaller element. I haven't thought too much about episode 3. There might be more stuff. Yeah.
Obi-Wan gets carried away by robots. Anakin gets carried away by robots when he gets burnt as well.
True. There's a lot of stuff. There's small tenuous things here, but they're there.
Yeah.
Episode 1, I don't really have much. It's a few slight locational things.
I think episode 1 is probably just a setup, really, more than anything.
Yeah, it does have Tatooine and Alderaan, and you could compare Alderaan to Naboo, and it features politics as a main plot point in the episode.
Yeah.
But the best connector is probably Leia's defiant and action-focused personality is similar to Padme.
Okay, yeah.
Which that's the best I could do. I'd probably, if I rewatched it with this in mind, I might see more things, but this is just what I got from remembering. My point with this is, if this is true, then episode 5 and 6 will evoke Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
So I think maybe it's going to have a bit of a twist on Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, so George Lucas always wanted this story to rhyme. Everyone knows that. We joke about it, but he always wanted Star Wars to rhyme. So, what my predictions for episode 5 and 6, okay? Wow. Episode 5, we are going to get our first hint. We're not going to see it. We're going to get our first hint at Qui-Gon's ghost, as well as Obi-Wan getting a little bit more control back over the Force, much like Luke in Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
That's I don't have much because I'm not sure what else they could bring. I mean, it'd be great to see an AT-AT. I don't know if they'd have an AT-AT. But they could. And episode 6, I am near certain. I almost put this at 100%. We are going to get a conversation between Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, just like the conversation between Obi-Wan and Luke in Return of the Jedi. I also think...
Go on. Yeah, I was just going to add, but in case you have it yourself, I'll let you do it.
I also think, we'll get our fight against Obi-Wan and Vader, and in this fight, a part of the helmet will be damaged. Yeah. Not only allowing us to see Hayden underneath, also evoking to the end of original trilogy where Vader asked for his helmet to be removed.
Yeah.
And the damaged helmet would allow Obi-Wan to gain the upper hand in the fight, allowing for canon to be restored and to have it be the last time these two fought, he was the master.
Okay, I agree with you. At that point, I want to add one more thing.
Yeah.
I think the last episode, when he talks to Qui-Gon, is when Obi-Wan learns to let go of his guilt.
Yeah.
It's not, because that's the big thing about New Hope. He has let go of guilt with what Anakin has done. He doesn't blame himself anymore. He calls Anakin a master of evil. Like, that's his thing. It's not what he taught him.
Yeah.
You know, I think we're going to see that as well. So in a way, it's Obi-Wan's redemption. It's his demasking and saying, like, you know, I can let this go now. I am back to who I am now.
Yeah.
Things are all right.
And I think like another part of that is going to be that it's going to evoke similarly to how Luke like gave into the Force and fully accepted that he was a Jedi like his father before him. It's going to be very similar to that scene.
Yeah.
Do
you think we're going to have another Jedi show up in the last two episodes?
You just want Mace.
No, I'm not. No. It's, a lot of people are Fallen Orders. Apparently, a lot of people are pointing to, we might be getting him because it's set around the same time. You know, all this kind of stuff.
It's possible. It's very possible to get another Jedi. I think if you were to put a Jedi, probably someone they'd meet on the path to help them out, because you need someone to handle Third Sister, and Obi-Wan is going to be busy fighting Vader.
Yeah.
Like that's
Leia
pretty much
picks
why.
Up a lightsaber and goes, "Fuck it, let's do this."
Yeah, like fuck canon. Leia destroys Third Sister in a lightsaber battle and forgets.
Yeah, I don't think the Third Sister's going to die in this show. I think she's going to be definitely kept.
If she does die, it'll be by Vader's hand, I imagine. Because
I just don't think. I think there's a story arc left in her, and I think it'd be a shame if she was gotten rid of. I think the actress is doing a great job.
Yeah, I don't think she'll die. I think she will be kept. But if she were to die, it would probably be by Vader's hand because of the whole, like her aspiring for too much thing.
I have a feeling she'll probably just end up like escaping. She'll like beat up some Inquisitors, escapes Vader, and
she like 100%. She's going to kill Fifth Brother. Like,
well, he can't be killed. He's
in one of the other shows. Yeah,
like, so I know technically the character that has been killed, but he's probably still alive. He's probably in a back to tank. He's probably just like in the same back tank as Vader, just chilling out. Like, it says, look,
the same back tank.
And here, we're not on the clock. We can talk. It's cool, okay?
So what you're saying is that the Empire can spare the expense for an underwater 25-foot spherical torture chamber, but they can't spare for more than one back to tank?
Back to liquids cost money, all right?
They are building a Death Star. I think they've got a bit of expenses.
Exactly, Kevin. They don't have the money. They spent it all on the fucking Death Star.
But they keep building fucking fortresses. Are you telling me they don't have enough for fucking back?
If you want to argue, the Death Star is probably getting close to being finished building.
Very, very close. Because it's operational. No, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be, actually, because it's not operational till Rogue One.
Yeah, but it's semi-operational in Rogue One.
Yeah.
It can do some damage. So it exists eventually, because we see that at the end of Revenge of the Sith.
We see them start building it in Revenge.
But honestly, see, like, the scaffolding is up, and they're putting stuff together. Like,
honestly, the timescale for building a Death Star is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Because you can see that they have half of it fucking built in Revenge of the Sith. Then 20 years pass or whatever. You bring us to A New Hope. It's semi-operational, and then literally days later, it is fully operational.
Well, here's the thing. You seem to forget that at the same time, around Vader's time, Palpatine was secretly building a fleet of ships that would then show up later on in The Rise of Skywalker. Like, and we even get a reference in a comic. Like, they were being built back then, you know?
And each of them has the capability of a Death Star.
Yeah. He was just building all those ships, you know?
God, remember when people panned Last Jedi for having miniaturized Death Star tech? That totally reasonable thing for like bad guys to have is to miniaturize a fucking weapon that they have already built. Yeah, that's such a shitty idea. Why would they ever want to build that? Yeah. Oh, the fleet of oh my god, when people ever defend the Rise of Skywalker, I actually go into a flame.
I know this is why usually I go all like heads on. I'll fight anyone who claims the Rise of Skywalker is better than the Last Jedi. But in this case, like I'd love to talk to anyone who genuinely can defend the point that Rise of Skywalker is better than The Last Jedi. I'm not saying Last Jedi is perfect, but holy crap, it is a far better movie in all compared to Rise of Skywalker. Like, holy god.
See, I don't think I'd like to talk to someone with that opinion. I'd like to study them in a lab scenario. They're in a little like a little rat cage doing mazes.
Like, I have nothing against people who say like their favorite of the ones of the sequel series is like Force Awakens. I'm like, yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
fair. You know,
your favorite's Last Jedi. That's fair too. Yeah. Your favorite's Rise of Skywalker. Why?
Yeah.
Why is that your favorite? Please tell me.
Yeah. So those are your predictions. Interesting.
Yeah, my prediction. That's what I'm predicting. I haven't got everything down. I'm a little iffy on episode 5 because there's like a lot of things they could do for episode 5 because we got like Bespin. Could go to a mining planet, another mining planet, to hide out because Bespin.
Yeah. I really thought we might get Vader and Obi-Wan fighting on the water moon. Like that seems like a good mirror.
Yeah, I almost expected it, but we'll see where they end up fighting. If my prediction is correct, they'll probably end up fighting in an Imperial base, maybe. Yeah. Not 100% sure, but it'd be evocative. And if there's anything the series might be doing, it's evoking to other things because it made me notice those references I didn't pick up on before, and I hope to look back at the other episodes, or even if people want to comment on this and say, hey, I know it's these other things that made episode 1 and 3 more connected.
In the episodes, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I want to see that. Yeah. I want to see what other people noticed that I didn't.
Yeah, David, hostly, you, David, who comments on these, please. You have like twice the Star Wars brain than either of us have combined.
Yeah. Come on, give us the info. Yeah. We need the insider knowledge.
We're incredibly lazy people. Please help us.
Yeah. if we can not do work, we would prefer that.
Yes. No, in fairness, I love doing these podcasts.
This is great.
It'd be nice to get some integration from other people because that's definitely the best part about having these communities, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, that's my predictions. Do you have any predictions going forward other than what you added onto mine?
Well, I definitely think Vader and Leia are going to meet. I bring it back to A New Hope. Leia definitely talked to Vader as if she's bumped into him more than once before, and they've talking shit to each other.
That's a fair point, yeah.
And I know it's a retroactive thing, but like even Vader talked to her like she was a child, like pointing his finger at her in A New Hope and all that kind of stuff. Like, there's definitely something there.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and I think it would be a good place to introduce Vader to Leia. You know, make her really understand what the Empire is about because she's learned a lot about the Empire now. You know?
Yeah, definitely planting the seeds of rebellion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, that does bring me to a thing. A few episodes ago, I jokingly said I wanted to see Jar Jar show up. I have since changed my mind on my ideal cameo. I want to see Tarkin show up. Not ugly, weird CGI Tarkin. I want to see recast Tarkin, but like believably.
I will say, like, Marvel and Disney have gotten better at like faces now. I mean, Luke wasn't bad looking in the book of Fett.
Yeah.
Yeah, he showed up in it. It wasn't terrible. I wouldn't mind them giving that another go.
I mean, maybe if they can do it well, I'd be okay with it. But if it looks like it did in Rogue One, where like at some angles it's like, wow, that's perfect, and then he slightly shifts his face, and
yeah. Have you watched Book of Boba Fett yet?
Not yet. I've been meaning to, but I keep putting it off.
Yeah.
This must be a confusing revelation for all the people who think I've seen it up to this point, given how I talk about Star Wars.
Yeah. You've watched the Clone Wars mostly, haven't you?
I've watched a fair amount of the Clone Wars. This was like a few years back though.
Yeah.
So it's mainly like just memories of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Now
that there is a fucking an anthology book series, Memories of the Clone Wars.
It's that'd be actually pretty cool. Memories of the Clone Wars, 100%. That's like a live action series they'd have in the bank.
That's like a fan podcast that could be made, like where people just like make little short stories of people who've been around during the Clone Wars and have their experience. Like, I would listen to the hell out of that.
Oh, that'd be great.
Let's write that down.
You can't listen to it if you're in it, Dan.
I mean, I won't be the only one doing it.
But yeah. So this, I love this episode. This is great. And I'll be honest, I might have loved this episode because it made me theorize about the final 2 episodes. More than it's made me theorize more than the other episodes have done, which has made my gears turn a bit and made me more hyped for this episode as a result.
Oh, for sure.
And I really like this. It's nice to see Obi-Wan back, but he's not like back. He's just kind of like he's getting the muscle memory back. Yeah. It's nice to see him struggle with the Force.
Yeah.
Because like episode 3, he was effortless with the Force, barring one fight scene, and it was against Anakin.
Oh, I will say this. That's one thing I really liked when he just stretches out his hand and concentrates really hard. Like, we see that when he's like holding back the water, and it sounds dumb, but it was during like the Revenge of the Sith when him and Obi-Wan fight, and they both like put their hands through each other. And it's like,
they force push each other.
Yeah, at the same time.
Also, by the way, didn't realize this until I read it online. This was the first Force choke of the series. It's a series of Darth Vader, and we didn't get Force choke until 2 episodes of Darth Vader. That's surprising.
I would say that it depends how much you define Force choking, because we do get a neck snap. I mean, it's not a million miles away from each other, right?
It's too instantaneous for Vader.
Yeah, but like both involve like holding that general part of the body and going.
Yeah, but it's different. Like you don't get it, man. You don't get it.
Like
it's conceptually similar but different. It hits different, if you will.
Okay. It's not the same vibe.
Exactly.
Okay.
I love this episode. I'm so hyped for the final 2 episodes. Really, really hope they keep up this really good momentum.
Yeah.
Into the finale, and I really hope we don't get a season 2.
Yeah, big time. I don't mind shows coming off from this.
Yeah,
not Obi-Wan based.
I would love this to be a jumping off point for stuff that happened between 3 and 4.
Yeah, that's like a new era that we can concentrate on. Like, you know.
Yeah, like let's go Third Sister spinoff, Teen Leia spinoff, fucking Luke farming spinoff. I don't care. Not
question.
Luke farming. That's the most boring one. Are we going to get
much Luke? Do you think?
No, we're getting nothing of Luke. Yeah. We're going to go back, and the last shot is going to be Obi-Wan sitting back on that ridge with his binoculars to stare at a child and make you really think, what did you do for all those years?
Do you know what I kind of would like? I would like to see Obi-Wan really pushed in the back foot, whereas he thinks he gets away from Vader. He goes to Tatooine, and Vader shows up.
And final fights on Tatooine.
He has to turn out a final fight on Tatooine, trying to obviously defend Leia, but obviously also making it clear that he's only there to protect Leia. You know? Yeah. And then maybe we'll get a scene where like Luke is after the fight. Luke is like at his moisture farm, and he looks up and he just sees Obi-Wan with Leia in the distance.
Yeah,
something like that would be neat. You know.
Or even he sees Vader's ship leaving. Because like episode 1, we see Leia staring at the spaceships because she wants to leave the planet. We know Luke has similar aspirations, but we don't get much characterization.
Yeah, they definitely both those scenes could exist, to be fair.
Yeah, so I would like a scene that kind of not only connects Luke to what we know of him in episode 4, but connects Luke to Leia in a way that episode 4 didn't. And have him sitting atop the little like sand igloo that they live in and staring as the Imperial shuttle. Because if you remember, Luke wanted to join the Empire.
Yeah.
Episode 4, he wanted to join the Empire. Like, seeing Imperial ships, he'd want to join. Don't know why his uncle wouldn't Actually, his uncle wouldn't let him. Never mind. I just remembered that.
That was a really cool part of that as well. There was some cutscenes where we see Luke sitting on top of like his house, and he's using binoculars to watch the battle between Vader's ship and Leia's ship in space. Like you can see like laser fights like through binoculars. Like it's like laser on a blue sky. Like the choo choo choo. You used to have that in what's a cutscene, and so it's like I always like that bit.
And like surprised they wouldn't have put that in.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that was back when like Lucas was a lot less power. He probably would have put that in. Surprised he didn't put it in an extended cut. I should say.
Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yes. We certainly did.
Yes, we certainly did. We're looking forward to next week. Again, as usual, we'll probably post the episode the day after because it makes life a little bit easier for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know if you have any facts and theories. Tell us if we were wrong about something.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to be wrong.
Yeah, no, genuinely. Also, like, tell us why anyone would like The Rise of Skywalker compared to The Last Jedi. I won't attack you. You're okay. You're safe. Yeah.
I might. I have a knife with me.
You mean a lightsaber?
Light knife.
Light knife.
It's
you don't have a nice life.
Fuck you.
Anyway, folks.
I don't have a knife.
All right, folks. Look after yourselves. Look after you. And we'll talk to you next week. Have a good time.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Asherlo.